Welcome to our presentation on digital transformation in vocational education, a comparative review. As we know, digital transformation is a reshape vocational education worldwide. It's a change in how institutions design training programs, manage information, and collaborate with industry. Rapid technical change, shift in labor market demands, then growing the importance of digital skills require vocational colleges to become more flexible, innovative, and future ready. To respond to the challenge, vocational institutions must strengthen digital infrastructure, cultivate a digital culture, continuously innovate in teaching and management. In this process, leadership is the decisive factor. Leaders save the pace and direction of transformation by coordinating resources, setting a clear priorities, and encouraging collective engagement across the institution. International experience show that digital transformation follow different paths in different contexts. Some institutions focus on innovative learning environments and collaboration, while others prioritize building digital competence, addressing infrastructure gaps, and gradually changing organizational culture. Despite these differences, a shared lesson emerged. Digital competence of teacher and students depends strongly on institutional support, a set of to technology and ongoing professional development. Leadership, competence, culture therefore work together in shaping the depth of digital transformation. We can see that at the policy level, global, regional, and national strategies on emphasize, coordinate, and inclusive transformation. Priorities include competency-based learning, close allies with industry, data-informed governance, and modern institutional management. The direction highlights the strategic responsibility institutional leaders to align internal actions with policy goals and emerging labor market needs. However, the very important gaps remains. Many studies examine technology, skill, or governance separately, but few explain how leadership integrates these elements into coherent and sustainable transformation pathway. Understanding this important role of leadership is very essential, particularly in vocational education system, facing with very diverse contexts of level of digital maturities. So for this study, we look at the gaps by examining the leadership practices that support digital transformation in vocational education. It aims to identify key leadership characteristics links to digital maturities, clarify the role of digital competence and institutional conditions, and highlight the priorities actions that can help vocational colleges to become more resilient, adaptive, and future oriented in the digital era. Now move on to literature review. On the theory side, we use ideas from digital leadership, transformation, and change management, dynamic capacity, and strategic management. Research on digital transformation in vocational education shows that it is not only technical change, but a complex institutional progress. It involves close interaction between leadership, infrastructure, human capacity, and organizational culture. Across different contexts, the literature converged around three core themes: innovative and distributed leadership, digital, digital competence of teacher and students, a strategic alignment with policy and labor market demands. Together, these themes explain why some institutions progress faster and more coherent than others. I like to make some three important points. First, leadership plays a central role in shaping the depth of digital transformation. Studies from Europe show that innovative and distributed leadership support shared responsibility, cross-unit collaboration, and effective integration of digital learning environments. Institutions with collaborative culture tend to demonstrate higher levels of digital maturities, a stronger industry partnerships, and smoother adoption of technology in both teaching and administration. In emerging contexts, leadership becomes even more visible, and some research Asian from Asia highlights that transformation advances when leaders strengthen digital ecosystem, adapt institutional processes, and align action with national strategies. Leadership qualities such as adaptability, strategic vision, and social intelligence help institutions overcome infrastructure gaps and cultural resistance, creating environments that sustain long-term innovation. Second, digital competence and organizational capacity from the foundation of transformation. Digital, digital competence strongly influences how technology is used in learning and assessment. Effective integration depends not only on training but also on institutional mechanisms such as mentoring, professional learning communities, and reflective practice. Student digital competence also varies widely across the context. Evidence shows that student readiness improves when institutions provide access to digital tools, embed technology in everyday learning, and create supportive learning cultures. The findings suggest that competence development must be planned at a system level, supported by target interventions and organizational culture that encourage experiences, experiments, experimentation, and collaboration. Third, strategic alignment with policy and labor market needs shapes the transformation pathways. Global and regional frameworks emphasize inclusion, resilience, competence-based learning, industry engagement, and data-informed governance. National policy further influence institutional priorities by setting expectations for infrastructure, digital services, and modern management. Evidence from vocational colleges show early progress in areas such as digital admission, communication platforms, and learning management systems, while also revealing challenges related to data integration, securities, and long-term planning. Institutions that align internal strategies with policy direction and labor market needs tend to achieve higher relevance and responsiveness. And across the system, transformation pathways differ. Developed system often benefits from strong digital ecosystem and established collaborative culture, enabling advanced practices such as smart learning environments, industry integrated modules. Developing systems tend to focus on foundational infrastructure and competence building. Despite the differences, leadership commitment, stakeholder engagement, and strategic planning consistently emerge as key enablers of digital transformation. So we can see that digital transformation is a multidimensional progress. And leadership enables change. Digital competence provide capacity, strategic alignment, assures relevance. Together, the dimensions shape the institutional digital maturities in vocational education. Now move on method. Now move on to methods. We use BRITMA. BRITMA is the reporting item for systematic review and meta-analysis. So for BRITMA, methods has three stages: identifying on the item and screening with some criteria and synthesis relevant studies. So we set up the criteria to file on the publication between 2020 to 2025 on digital transformation, digital leadership in technical and vocational education and training institution. And we define to see on the database with on the methods abstract related to TVET, transformational digital transformation in TVET. At first, we found 333 items, and then when we looked through it with the criteria, finally we got 32 items for analysis. Now move on to result and recommendation. Move on to results and recommendations. Let's talk about results. I want to emphasize on three important leadership dimensions: capabilities building for digital competence, collaborative and distributed culture, and strategic alignment with policy and labor market needs. I want to emphasize 3 points. First, evidence from Europe context shows a strong link between leadership and innovation in learning and industry cooperation. In Switzerland and Germany, institutions with innovation-oriented and distributed leadership demonstrate higher readiness, more coherent use of digital learning environments, a deeper engagement with employers. Leaders in these systems empower teachers, encourage collaboration with across departments, and use data to support continuous improvement. As a result, digital tools are not added superficially, but embedded into everyday teaching programs and workplace relevant learning. Second, study from Asia highlight how leadership responds to infrastructural and cultural constraints. In China, leaders focus on building digital ecosystems by aligning platforms data progresses and pedagogical reform, even under uneven infrastructure conditions. Evidence shows that successful transformation often emerge from combination of leadership management, organizational culture, and infrastructure development. In Pakistan, leadership qualities such as adaptability, social intelligence, and relevance relative practice play a decisive role in sustaining digital initiatives and resource constrained environments. These findings underlies that leadership behaviors matter even more where conditions are challenging. Third, digital competencies immerse both an individual capacity and an institutional outcome. Across regions, student comparison improve when institutions provide stable access to technology, integrate digital tools into daily learning, and design supportive learning environments. And for teachers, evidence highlights persistent readiness gap, particularly in developing contexts. Structured professional development that integrates pedagogy, technology, and assessment is essential for meaningful technology use rather than isolate or short-term training. And policy strategy alignment acts as a strong drivers of digital maturities. Global, regional, and national frameworks increasingly emphasize inclusion, resilience, competency-based learning, and data-informed governance, while institutional strategies align clearly with these policy directions and labor market needs. Digital transformation tend to be more coherent, sustainable, and impactful. Now move on to our recommendation. Well, to move from vision to impact, leadership must be intentional, structured, and evidence driven. First, we need an orchestrate, distributed leadership. This means aligning people, technology, governance, not through top-down control, but through collaborative decision making grounded in data and evidence. Only when leadership is shared can be transformation become sustainable. Second, we must institutionalize digital competence. Digital capacity should not remain in individual efforts. It needs to be embedded systematically into recruitment, teaching practices, assessment methods, and continuous professional learning. In this way, digital transformation becomes part of institutional. Third, we must translate policy into practice. Policy can only create value when they are operationalized through a clear governance structures, actionable roadmaps, and measurable KPIs, and strong employer co-design. This is how we will gradually advance in our level of digital maturities. In a sense, leadership in the digital era is not about authorities, it's about alignment, integration, and execution. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about digital transformation in TVET, we often think about technology first. However, evidence consistently shows that digital transformation is not primarily about technology, it's fundamentally about transforming people and rethinking leadership. Leadership is a decisive force that shapes direction and drive change. Digital competence provides the foundation for effective implementation. Institutional culture ensures sustainability over time, and technology is simply an enabler, not the core of transformation. Building on the insights, we now move to the strategic implications. First, institutions need to shift from simply adopting technology to driving systemic transformation. Second, leadership must evolve from a centralized model to a more distributed and collaborative approach. Third, it is critical to integrate policy, institutional practice, and labor market. Need to ensure relevance and impact. And finally, digital transformation must be embedded across teaching, assessment, and governance systems, not treated as a separate initiative. To translate strategy into action, we need a clear and disciplined approach. First, institutions must establish a clear roadmap with measurable KPIs and strong accountability mechanisms. Second, transformation should start with people, developing leaders, teachers, and staff as the core driver of change. Third, it is essential to strengthen industry, co-design, and partnerships to ensure relevance and real-world impact. And finally, institutions should continuously monitor their digital maturity to guide improvement over time. In short, start small, scale first, and lead change. Thank you very much for your attention. Welcome your questions. Thank you.